Christmas myths? Say it ain't so! That's right, in this video we're going to be talking about some of the most commonly believed myths about Christmas. You ready? Hey everyone, welcome to That Christian Vlogger, a place where you get to join me and experience faith in the first person. If you're new here, I make videos multiple times a week aimed to help you grow in your faith, so definitely consider subscribing. Now, I'm not one of those Christians who believes that Christmas is evil and Satan worship and all of that, but the truth is that there are a lot of things that we were taught as children that just aren't in the Bible. So today I'm going to talk to you about 5 of the most commonly believed myths about the Christmas story. Let's go. Myth number 1. Jesus was born on December 25. For years, Christians have celebrated the birth of Jesus on December 25, but the consensus is nearly 100% that Jesus could not have been born on December 25. Luke 2 verse 8 talks about the shepherds keeping watch over their flock by night. However, Decembers in Bethlehem are cold and regularly have temperatures dropping below freezing, which would make staying out in the night near impossible. Most shepherds kept watch in the fields anywhere from April all the way to October, while for the rest of the months they attempted to shelter their flocks inside. Furthermore, it would be highly unlikely that Caesar Augustus would decree a census during the winter months, as the bad weather would make travel very difficult and likely cause the citizens to revolt if they were required to travel long distances. So does this mean that it's wrong to honor Jesus' birth on December 25? Not at all. Consider Martin Luther King Day, which is celebrated in honor of Dr. King on the 3rd Monday in the month of January, when he was actually born on January 15. Now, sometimes the stars do align and the dates match, but other times they don't. For example, in 2017, Martin Luther King Day will fall on January 16. The difference in these dates is no way a compromise, as what really matters is the heart and the intention behind these traditions. Myth number 2. There were 3 wise men that appeared at Jesus' birth. Read any child's story and inevitably there will be 3 wise men who come to bring gifts to little baby Jesus. Surprisingly, the Bible actually never specifies how many wise men there were. Matthew chapter 2 simply says that there were wise men from the east. There could have been as little as 2 or even several dozen. So how do we come to this number of 3 wise men? Many have attributed this number to the number of gifts that were given, gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. 1 wise man for every single gift. Furthermore, there's nothing in the narrative to suggest that these wise men actually came on the birth night of Jesus. In fact, Matthew 2 verse 11 seems to suggest that this was a bit of time after the birth, as they went, quote, into the house where they fell down and worshiped Jesus. Myth number 3. Mary remained a virgin until the day she died. Certain Christian denominations, Catholics in particular, place a very large value on the fact that Jesus was conceived by supernatural means. The virgin birth, as we all know, is a central part to the Christian narrative. However, there is no reason to think that Mary and Joseph would continue to be abstinent for the rest of their life. In fact, Matthew 13:55-56 seems to suggest that Jesus had at least 6 siblings. Myth number 4. Jesus was born in a stable. This idea is also on shaky ground. Joseph and Mary were going to the ancestral home, which likely meant that they were staying with extended family. The idea that the family would kick their pregnant cousin or niece out into a smelly barn is highly unlikely. This confusion largely comes from the mistranslation of the word inn, which is found in Luke 2 verse 7. A better translation of this word would be the upper room or guest room. This is the same Greek word that Luke 22:11 uses to describe where the Last Supper actually took place. Well, what about the manger, you ask? This notion of the manger gives us a good indication of which part of the house that they were actually in. In those days, many homes had an upper level where the family would sleep and a lower level where animals were kept for the night to provide heat. Oftentimes, both rooms were attached to the main house. It was likely that Jesus was born in the lower level where he was placed in a manger simply because it made for a great little cradle. Myth number 5. Mary rode a donkey all the way to Bethlehem. This last Christmas myth is actually somewhat plausible, though then again not very likely. The odds that a pregnant woman would travel 80 miles to Bethlehem on a donkey are highly suspect. The biblical account doesn't mention this noble steed at all. It is much more likely that Mary traveled using one of the more popular modalities of transport, which would include either a horse or a camel drawing a cart. The only specification the scripture mentions is that Mary and Joseph would travel all the way from Nazareth Nazareth to Bethlehem together. There you have it, 5 commonly believed myths about Christmas. If you learned something new from this video, would you mind sharing this video with a friend? And as always, feel free to visit thatchristianvlogger.com to check out the entire library of videos, and if you like what you see, definitely consider subscribing. Many thanks to all of these wonderful people for supporting this ministry and making videos like these possible. If you would like to donate, you can do so at patreon.com/thatchristianvlogger. That's all for today, but until next time, I'm That Christian Vlogger, and I want to encourage you to experience faith in the first person. God bless.